So, we all think the AI boom is running on chips and data, right? But there's something else, a hidden fuel, a resource that's quickly turning into a global flashpoint. And this whole story, it really kicks off with one single, kind of startling number. Okay, so here's the number 92 gigawatts. That's the power shortfall the US is staring down by the early 2030s. Now, what does that even mean? Well, to put that into perspective, it's like trying to power another entire California and plugging it into a grid that's already stretched to its limit. This isn't just about keeping the lights on, this is a massive crisis for national competitiveness. And that right there leads us to the big question we're tackling today. See, the race to dominate AI isn't just about who has the best algorithms. It's really a race for power. But not just any power. It has to be dense, it has to be clean, and it has to be on all the time. So the billion-dollar question is, where is all that power going to come from? All right, to figure that out, we've got to understand something crucial. AI's need for energy, it's just different. It's not just about needing more electricity. It's about needing a whole new kind of electricity. So let's break this down. What makes AI's power needs so special? Well, first off, these AI models, they never sleep. They run 24/7, which means they need what's called baseload power. That's a steady, nonstop stream of juice that things like solar and wind, which come and go, just can't deliver. Second, these data centers are absolutely massive. They need a huge amount of power packed into one single spot. And third, we're talking about companies making huge long-term bets. They need to know that power will be there, guaranteed, for decades, not just for a couple of years. So when you stack up all three of those demands, yeah, our usual energy sources really start to struggle. Okay, so if the usual players are out, what's left? Well, the conversation very quickly turns to the one source that actually checks all those boxes, nuclear. But, and this is a big but, getting to that nuclear power reveals a whole new problem, a major bottleneck. And this is really the heart of it all. The second that big tech figured out they had a baseload power problem, not just a power problem, the world's supply of uranium, the fuel for nuclear reactors, it instantly became this massive strategic choke point. Look, let's just trace the steps here because it's incredibly simple. Step 1, AI needs a ridiculous amount of constant, dense power. Step 2, right now, the only thing that can really deliver that at scale is nuclear power. And step 3, nuclear reactors run on one thing and one thing only, uranium. It's a dead straight line from you typing a prompt into an AI, all the way back to a uranium mine somewhere in the world. For a long time, this was a conversation for, energy nerds. But then came 2025. That was the year everything changed. It was like a perfect storm of events that dragged this whole hidden issue right out into the open. Let's dig into what happened. So, the first big red flag came from a company called Sprott. These guys run one of the biggest funds that actually buys and holds physical uranium. And when they come out and say, hey, we don't see enough future supply, that's not just an opinion. Like this quote says, that's forward guidance. It's the biggest customer in the room basically shouting a warning to the entire market. And then, as if on cue, you get the official word. The World Nuclear Fuel Report, basically the industry's Bible, came out and formally said, yup, the whole supply chain, from digging it out of the ground to processing it, is under serious strain. It needs money, and it needs it now. So it wasn't just the players warning anymore, it was the referees blowing the whistle. And of course, what happens next? The market reacts. The price for uranium shot up past $82 a pound. Now, this wasn't just hype or speculation, this was the market screaming that there's real physical tightness. Price is almost always the clearest signal you can get that a real shortage is happening. So when you lay it all out on a timeline like this, you can really see how fast things went critical. Right at the start of 2025, the world's biggest producers cut their output. Bam. Then, by the middle of the year, the biggest buyers and the official reports are sounding the alarm bells. And by the end of the year, the price is just taking off. But the whole time, kind of under the radar, the new customers, the big AI companies, are making moves, locking in nuclear power deals. It was just this cascade, one thing after another, that completely changed the game. So, all of this leads to a really important shift. We're not just talking about supply and demand for power plants anymore. The new players in this market have turned this into a high-stakes game of global strategy.
For the first time since the Cold War, really, uranium is being talked about again as a strategic commodity. So what does that actually mean? It means that a shortage isn't just a headache for some utility company, it's a risk to national security. And when that happens, everything changes. Governments step in, they start stockpiling, and suddenly, geopolitics becomes a huge driver of the whole market.
And this table, this really shows you the new global chessboard. Just look at the players making moves. You have the hyperscalers, that's Microsoft, Google. They're not even waiting for the power companies anymore. They're going out and signing their own nuclear deals. Then you've got China, which is just building new reactors at a jaw-dropping pace. And then there's Russia. This is key. They control a huge piece of the world's enrichment capacity. That's a critical step in making the fuel, a massive choke point. And meanwhile, countries like the UAE and Canada are racing ahead on these new small modular reactors. SMRs. Basically, smaller, faster-to-build nuclear plants. The point is, everyone is making their move.
So where does all this leave us? Well, what this means is that AI coming to the table hasn't just changed the uranium market a little bit. It has completely torn up the old rulebook and written a brand new one.
Yeah, this comparison here nails it. The old reason to be interested in uranium was this slow burn, long-term bet. Maybe someday there will be a shortage. The new case, it's happening right now. It's driven by production cuts happening now, new reactors being built now, and these new AI buyers who need power at almost any price, signing deals now. AI didn't just add a little fuel to the fire, it poured gasoline on it.
So who actually stands to benefit from all this in the short term? Who's in the best spot to win this race? Well, first you have the gatekeepers, the people who build the transmission lines. It doesn't matter how much power you make if you can't get it to the data center, right? Then you have the old guard, the nuclear incumbents. They're the ones with power plants already running and a product to sell today. And finally, you have a new group, the integrators. These are the smart companies that are figuring out how to plug nuclear power directly into AI data centers, cutting out the middleman. And all of this leaves us with one final huge question. The most advanced AI, it's going to be built wherever the cheapest, most reliable electricity is found, period. So this race to mine uranium, to build reactors, to deliver those electrons, it's not really about energy anymore, is it? It's about who is going to build and control the absolute foundational infrastructure of our future. And the answer to that? Well, that story is being written as we speak.